Hi guys, Chad here with Power Brakes. Got my good buddy Tim Kelly with me. He's the brake connoisseur. He's the one that builds all the brakes. A lot of y'all know him already. We're going to do a little video series on everything, not really about brakes, but everything a boat owner should know and have. We get a lot of calls, and we talk to people all over the country, and we just assumed that it was common knowledge on a lot of this stuff, but it's not. So we're going to really dumb it down and just get it to the brass tacks on the basics that every boat owner should have and know. It won't be a complete deal because, you know, everybody will have something different, but this will be the basics. Every boat owner should have these basics with us. It's by no means gospel or anything like that you have to have this stuff. It'll sure help you have more quality time on the water and a lot more fun. But so I grabbed my tool bag out of my boat, and we're gonna explain how to use some of these tools too. But in my tool bag, I've got a spare prop for my front trolling motor. I got a spare prop for my brakes. We're gonna talk about them in a minute. I've got a little air compressor for the tires on my trailer. I'm 70% sure it still works. We're going to talk about voltmeters, just a crescent wrench, wire strippers, wire crimpers that I have modified, screwdrivers, good pliers. I've got some various end wrenches. I keep a box of fuses, Allen wrench set, electrical tape. I think that's just your basic stuff. Wire strippers is one of my, and wire strippers and wire crimpers is one of my pet peeves. You don't want those ones that comes with the kit that are stamped metal and they just don't work good. Get good quality tools if you want good quality outcome.
These are Harbor Freight.
These are Harbor Freight. Well, they're like $9 or something.
Yeah, just don't buy the cheapest thing.
Yeah, and they're really good. You can buy these at Harbor Freight. They got a cutter on them. I grind it off because I need tight areas. But
when you get in there to crimp something, there's always a wire right about here.
Right, and you'll cut it.
Then your problem just moved.
Right. So you want good quality tools if you want a good quality outcome. You don't have to have a snap-on. I mean, I got a snap-on wrenches, but we want a good quality crescent wrench, good quality pliers, screwdrivers.
I love the irony in this.
Yeah.
Because it has the sizes on the side of it.
Right.
Like you need to know that.
Yeah. I use that a lot.
Jeez. Bless your heart.
Thanks. The electrical tape. And
do you need this in standard and metric on a boat?
I don't know. I usually have both. Let's talk about quality. So, and you ought to have an accessory bag. This is not mine. I just brought it out here for the video.
So you need more different connectors and
these
stuff?
are the connectors you buy at your hardware store, auto parts store, Harbor Freight.
Everybody knows the stores.
But you can tell the quality difference between that and the ones we use. It's huge. We get pictures all the time, people having problems with their system, and we see these a lot. We provide these, but for some reason they use these. And you're just asking for problems down the road. I mean, it's about quality. If you put a weak link in your system, it's going to show you where the weak link is. So get the good connectors. You can get them off Amazon. They're cheap too. I mean, we're talking about penny stuff. But buy the good ones. You know, these are heat shrink. You put your wire in there, you crimp it, and then heat shrink it down. That heat shrink's not really for water. It's to help keep it in there. It glues it to that, so it makes it a one system deal. It's really worth it just to spend 2 extra pennies to get the better quality stuff.
We had someone the other day that had put an eyelet down and put the washer underneath it.
Oh yeah.
And then put the nut on top of it, and that was a mess because they were still loose. The washer's supposed to be on top of the eyelet, then the nut, then tighten it down.
And we'll post some pictures of the pictures we get in from our customers. And we're not making fun of the customers at all. Um, they, we understand they don't know. It's not their wheelhouse. Um, but they'll use these little cheap connectors, and they'll have wires sticking out, and their wires are touching other wires. We got them where they're twisted together, pictures of where their wires are twisted together and taped, and they wonder why they have problems. It's all about your quality install. I guarantee it's over 90% of the calls we get if they're having problems is because of their install. Our system is so simple, so easy, so simple. There's not much that can go wrong with it. It's it's uh it's it's really about the quality of their install. All right, so now we're at the voltmeter. You gotta have a voltmeter, and this is the cheapest one you can get, and it'll work if the batteries are good. My batteries are good. Needs so if you, I don't know how you'd have a boat and fix any problems without a voltmeter because 90% of your problems on your boat is going to be electrical. It'll tell you if your fuses are good. You don't have to pull each fuse and look at them. And we'll do a whole series about how to use the voltmeter. But at the bare minimum, get one of these. But there's better options than this.
That intimidates a lot of people.
It does. It intimidates me.
I get more people ask me, well, what setting do I put it on?
Yeah. On this one, I really only know 3, maybe 4 settings, and there's probably 20. But this one here, I think you bought this off TikTok.
I just had to prove that it was really what they said it was.
And it costs like $14. Or
yeah, I bought one for every one of my kids. Just put it in your vehicle. That way, it's there. It's damn near idiot proof.
And I've got one in my boat. I've got one probably in every toolbox, but it's automatic. You don't have to know any settings. You just turn it on, and it knows what you're trying to do. Continuity is one of your main settings. Continuity and 12-volt DC power is what you're going to be using. You got to have a voltmeter. So many people call me, say, man, my brakes don't work. I ask them, all right, do you have a voltmeter? And most of them say no. I said, well, we can't diagnose anything without a voltmeter. You know, test light at the minimum, but a test light don't get you everything you need. A test light will lie to you. A voltmeter, it's just numbers. You'll get what you want. But that's your basic tools that you really have to have in owning a boat. And we're not saying that you have to be a boat mechanic and do away with your installers. You still need your installers, you know, your guy that takes your boat to, but this is going to get you off the water or back on the water, whatever, out of a bind. And so it's all about having fun. You got to have fun out there, and you'll have fun working on your stuff, you know, but you'll have a lot more fun if you have better stuff to work with.
So you're not 2 miles away from the boat ramp,
right,
with someone chewing in your ear.
Right. I don't know. I'm not an expert at voltmeters or electricity and stuff, but I've been dealing with enough of it. We grew up so poor, we had to learn stuff to have it. So we was on the voltmeter stuff, so that brings us to we have a bunch of, like I said, we get a lot of calls every day, and we're fun people. We laugh and joke around all day long. So we hear these key phrases that are the common denominator, I'd say. Somebody calls in and says this, and it's a flag for us, like, okay, there's a problem. And I'm usually the one on the phone. I'm always the one on the phone. And Tim's just listening. He hears one side of the conversation, and he gets to laughing. And the phrases change through the time, but here lately, this year, there's been one phrase that we've heard from most of our guys, and we know that, all right, something's up. And can you guess what the phrase is, Tim?
Well, it's a couple of options of it. A good buddy of mine's an electrician, and he's over here helping me. Or I was an electrician, and this is the way it should be working.
Yeah. It's the electrician.
The electrician thing. Nothing against electricians, but sometimes it's just a little different.
It's
But when he gets off the phone, we giggle about it a little bit.
I think every time we've been told my neighbor's electrician or my buddy's electrician, and he's looked at this system or whatever, they've been totally wrong. They'll call me and say, "Man, my electrician said that this relay's bad," and I'm like, "Man, our relays very seldom go bad. I buy the expensive relay, the heavy duty ones. That's why they're loud. They're just heavy duty, and so I'll send them a new relay, and then I want the old one back so I can test it. Because if there's a problem with my system, I want to know. And I'd say out of 20 relays we've gotten back, one of them was actually bad. The rest of them, they worked fine. And the one that was bad was actually broke. It was probably broken shipping. But
don't tighten up the nuts on the relay. Will it impact gun?
Please don't do that. Deal. Just nobody uses a hand screwdriver anymore. Quit using your drills to tighten up little electrical stuff. Use your hand screwdriver. There's no shame in using a manual tool. That's what it's designed for. These little old screws that holds electrical components, they're not designed for a drill.
An impacting drill that hits it so hard, it's not a lug nut.
Right. And they don't have to be super tight. You want them taut.
Can you spell that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good job.
It's taut. Not tight, but taut.
Not teach.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So when you call us and say, "My electrician," it's automatically a flag for us. We start laughing.
But I appreciate the giggle. Yeah. I need it sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it's like telling the girl at the bar you're forklift certified. It just ain't quite.
She's not wowed.
but anyway, it's I mean, I sold a set of brakes to a guy that was an electrician. He had a big electrical company, and he told me, he said, "Man, we're electricians. We know nothing about this stuff." And I'm like, "Hey, this guy's the real deal." He said, "This is low voltage. It's DC 12 volts." He said, "We don't deal with DC 12 volts being an electrician." He said, "We don't deal with relays and stuff." He said, "Walk me through this." Man, that was a great install. I walked him through the phone or on the phone. He had no problems. Very humble guy out of Illinois. And just a great scenario. But our system's so simple, you don't need to be an electrician.
No.
So
it's very few connections.
Very few. Okay, so this one's going to be about the voltmeter. We'll start with the old school manual one, and we got this $100 lithium boat battery here for a demonstration deal. It's a 12-volt battery.
Costs hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, and so show them what you're doing there. All right, we're measuring DC voltage.
Okay, first thing we catch a lot of people doing is that you got 2 leads, but 3 holes. The common is going to be your black, obviously. The red, you want the volts, ohms, is where you want the red wire.
Show them what ohms. There's symbols.
Yeah, there's a symbol. It's an omega symbol. It looks like a horseshoe. It's DC volts. We're on the settings. And ohms is, I don't know if you can see it, it's an upside down horseshoe. Unless the horse is laying down. Who knows? See it? All right, good for you. All right, and then we're going to set the voltmeter on DC volts, 20 volts, because this is only 12 volts. We got to be able to contain it all. If it was more, then we'd be on a setting. Usually you're going to just stay with 20. Interesting.
Well, on my other meter, it's not written DC or AC. It's got squiggly lines or straight lines and stuff, and I never remember which one's which.
DC volts is a dash, dash, dash over a solid dash. AC volts, which you won't be doing on a boat, is a sine wave, which is looks like a wave with a line underneath it.
So the wave is
AC.
AC is alternating current. DC is direct current. So the direct is straight line. Alternating is
exactly
the squiggly line.
Yeah, AC is your house. DC is the boat.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, hold on to that.
Yeah. So when we're when we're talking on the phone, I'm going to ask you, do you have full 12 volts at this certain place? And this is when your meter's going to come in, and you're going to touch these two.
You see how this says negative whatever? It's because he's got his wires backwards.
So I got my wires backwards, so it tells you if your polarity is off.
But you're not going to hurt the meter.
But most of the time, we don't really care about polarity unless we're dealing with the direction of the motors. But so if you have 12 volts one way, you'll have 12 volts the other.
We brought a dead battery. It's only 10 volts.
I got another one. Oh. Compared.
Look, I have more.
Because I own a boat.
And I want to fish. He did it again. Oh, look at that. 12.2. 12.2.
Yeah.
So you do have voltage.
Yeah. So that's the
step one. You got voltage.
Step one. And another way you can use the voltmeter is to check your fuses. The continuity. Your fuses got these the metal sticking through there just for that. You stick it down in there. So he's going to change it to continuity, which is ohms, right?
Ohms.
There's your little horseshoe.
Yeah, sounds good. That's the horseshoe thing again. There's your ohm symbol. Now I'm all the way at the lowest number I can get because we're not doing anything huge.
And anytime you're testing ohms, automatically test these, make sure everything's working. So you can see that moving. There's continuity between these two.
It should be a really small number. Closest to zero, the better.
Yeah. On a fuse, if it moves at all, you know the fuse is good. So we're going to test this fuse here. Okay. Fat fingers, kind of rough sometimes.
I didn't say
and I can't see very well. I didn't bring my glasses.
You got nothing.
We're going to say this fuse is bad. It looks good.
Try the other mirror. I got a bad feeling about these connectors.
Yeah, that's why I don't like these. So we're going to compare these meters.
Nothing.
So we're going to do the same test with this meter, with the digital one.
Well,
automatic. It works. That's what I'm talking about. The quality of your tools sure changes the outcome of everything.
And the beep sound you're hearing is another version of wave it saying, yes, you have continuity.
Yeah.
And it knows to swap from, we were just reading AC volts or DC volts a second ago, and now we're doing ohms, but it's smart enough to figure out to get there.
And this is a good example of the quality of tools you have. If all we had was that $2 meter on the boat, it's better than not having one. But we'd be checking fuses and we'd be replacing fuses because we're not getting continuity because that meter is so cheap. But if we had a good meter, it saves you a lot of time.
And some people say, pull the meter out, look at it, and you can see if it's burnt through.
You mean the fuse?
I'm sorry, the fuse. But some people can't see. You can't even see that.
It's red.
Yeah, good job.
But so
we're done.
And then I'm gonna throw that other one away. You know, this is less than $20. You're out there fishing, your bilge pump goes out, your horn don't work, whatever. You need to check your fuse. You want to get back to fishing as fast as possible. And I mean, that's just your basics of your voltmeter. So simple, not intimidating. Just get it out and play with it, learn about it. You'll be a lot happier in the end. Anything else on the voltmeter?
I just want you to be happy.
I'm happy.
Well, if you can go fishing.
I used to fish a lot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what a circuit is. All right, so we're on circuits now. You've got your 12-volt battery, and you have your appliance. And I don't have a light out here or motor, so we're going to use our voltmeter as our appliance. So this is our trolling motor. It's got an audible tone if it comes on. So a circuit is just like this wire here is a complete circuit. There's no break in it. If we hook this to this, we're going to get a tone. So we got a complete circuit there. That's as simple a circuit as you can get. But to protect all your circuits, we're going to put a fuse in there. We'll talk about a fuse before we talk about the breaker. The fuse, all the fuse is, we're going to put a fuse in the circuit. Okay, so now we're going to complete the circuit
on a good fuse.
On a good fuse. So if we had too much load, too much amperage, is it amperage? Yeah, it's amperage. If we had too many amps going through that fuse, that little wire in there will break and protect your wire. The fuse is not to protect your appliance, it's to protect your wiring. That's all a fuse or a breaker's for, is to protect the wiring. So you have to, if you have a 10 amp circuit, you need a 10 amp fuse, and your wire is rated for 10 amps. That way, if something happens and you run 15 amps through it, it's going to protect your wire, and this is your sacrificial protection.
The fuse will actually be just a little bit less than your wire, just because they want it to die first.
Right. So when they tell you your wire is rated for 10 amps, it's rated for a 10 amp fuse. It's probably rated for 15 amps or 20 amps or whatever, but they rate it for your fuse rating. That's as simple as the explanation.
Yeah.
Did I do?
You did good.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. And what happens if that fuse burns out, pops, and you're out on the boat?
It's going to be, so you're trolling along, everything's good, your trolling motor's working, and your fuse pops. That's all it's going to do. It's going to stop. You're not getting electric from this wire to that wire. So it's just a switch. It's a manual, or it's an automatic switch.
It's a safety.
It's a safety switch. And you replace it. I mean, you can always wire around it. No. Then there's no protection.
No.
So if you're popping that fuse, you put another 10 amp fuse in there, and boom, it pops again. You've got a direct short somewhere.
Yeah.
And the way we used to find them, we'd put a 50 amp fuse in there.
No.
And look for the smoke. It's going to smoke.
No.
And then if you're out on the water, then smoke, and then fire, and then you don't know where your fire extinguisher is, and everybody's bailing out, calling you an idiot and all this stuff. But that's only happened once.
Yeah. You didn't need those friends anyways.
Right. Then I bought a voltmeter. So that's how important having a voltmeter is.
You're kind of the guy that stuck a penny in the old pickup truck fuse, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 22 shells usually. It was an audible pop when it popped.
Didn't need those friends either.
Right. But I mean, that's just your simple circuit right there. And then if you're not going to run a fuse, you run a breaker. The breaker does exactly the same thing as this does. It's just usually you can get a higher amperage deal here, and it's resettable. There's on, you can turn it off. It automatically goes off when there's too much voltage or amperage through it.
Can you use it as a switch then to turn power off?
You can use it as a switch. Most people do. I'm sure that there's an engineered cycle life in there. You get so many cycles. It's usually 100,000 cycles, you know.
That's a pretty good guess.
I read the paper. I've researched all this stuff before I sold it. But anyway, you got to have fuse protection, breaker protection, a fault protection is what they call it. It's a fault. And we supply 100 amp breakers. It's probably a little heavy for some of them and a little light for some of them, but you can always go up and always go down, whatever your wire is rated for. It's not about your appliance, it's about your wire. And if everybody would familiarize themselves with what things are and how things work, you'd have so much less time, less downtime. All these, not all of them, but most of the questions we get and the troubleshooting we do, if everybody had the basic understanding of the electricity part of it, they could diagnose it themselves and they'd feel better. I mean, you still call me. I love talking to you. Familiarize yourself with the stuff and you'll have more fun. What else can we talk about?
Well, I got a question.
Okay.
Remember the old boy that had brand new lithium-ion batteries in his boat? Troubleshot, got mad.
Yeah, he's gonna know who we're talking about.
I'm sorry.
We just won't mention his name.
Okay. Brand new. He's proud of them.
Yeah, he just got his brakes installed and was fishing a tournament, and pre-fishing one day, his batteries going weak, so he went down and he got some brand new lithium batteries, and his brakes wouldn't work, and he was stressed out, to say the least, and I think he would just quit. Then he fished a tournament.
He went home mad.
Yeah. So I told him, well, when you get home, call me. We'll troubleshoot it. We'll fix it. And then we found out that he bought brand new batteries, and they're lithiums. And he did have a voltmeter, and they had 12 volts to them, but they wasn't turned on. Your lithiums will show voltage for your charger. Your charger needs to see voltage, but it won't have any power, no cranking amps, no substance to it because they're turned off. So he didn't have any brakes. We fixed it by turning on the batteries. That's another example of know your equipment, know what you got, know how to work it. And there's been more than just that one in that same scenario. I've actually done that once with a new battery before, but I never turn mine off now. But
so if you hook to this breaker, same way that you're hooking to the fuse.
So a breaker
with your leads.
General rule of thumb on electricity, power should come into the top and power should leave out the bottom. Isn't that right?
It's marked.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It says battery. Power comes in the top. We're going to hook it to there. The power's going to come in the bottom or out the bottom to your
system.
What'd you do to it?
Oh, it's timed out. Okay. You made it mad. Try it again.
The breaker's turned off, so it's open right now. We're going to close the breaker. Now your system's on. If it gets too much amperage through there, it's going to trip and do that. Now it's over. It's just simple. It's we tend to overthink things, but did you do something? No. And that's all there is to it. Okay, we're going to talk about relays. We use a relay in our system. A lot of systems use relays. We've found a lot of people don't know what is a breaker and what is a relay. This is a relay and this is a breaker. A relay is exactly what the term means. It transfers power. It relays something. And we're talking about power, so it relays power. It allows you to run real low current to activate high currents. And yeah, you okay?
I don't know.
We got some stuff out in the woods. So with our relay, we've had a few different ones, and they'll probably change again. We don't have a lot of control on that, but we make sure to get the high quality ones. So this relay is a 12-volt relay. It's 250 amp. We did that for longevity. They're bulletproof. They're strong. They're stout. They can handle all the current we're going to deal with them. So how a relay works, this is not a solid state relay. It's a mechanical relay, meaning it's got two electromagnetic magnets in it. And that's why you can hear it shake. You can see these little circles on the bottom. This is a coil and that's a coil, and it runs a plunger. It's electromagnet. When this coil energizes, it pushes a rod and makes continuity to transfer the power. And when the other one's energized, it reverses the polarity and transfers the power. It's a reversing polarity relay. And just to give you an idea of how they work, we got our big time high dollar lithium battery. We're going to do the right polarity here. We're going to hook it up. I don't have enough leads out here, so we're going to cheat a little bit. We got negative and positive. Our negative on this relay will go there. And to energize it, your foot switch is going to come back to one of these two Phillips head screws.
That's positive.
No? Oh, I need a different jumper. I need another jumper. I might build it with a screwdriver.
By all means.
All right, so with our high dollar lithium battery, we're going to do the correct polarity here. That's the positive. And we're going to put ground, a negative, to this relay over on where the negative battery goes. Since I don't have the right leads here, light bulbs and stuff, we're just jumping the relay. So when you step on your foot switch is tied to the positive. All it's doing is heating up the coil, whichever coil you want to heat up. So if you can hear this,
you're completing the circuit.
You're completing the circuit. It's energizing that coil, and then it's energizing these two studs here. So your trolling motor's hooked there. And so you can put it on there.
Be the motor.
So that it'll stimulate the motor. So since it's a mechanical relay, those always have continuity to it since it's a coil.
Yep.
So if you're trying to test it, so that won't work for us.
Okay. True, because it's going to want to.
If you're trying to test this relay, you can't really ohm it out because
it's a coil of wire.
It's a coil of wire. So these will always have continuity to them, but they won't have any current to them. In simple terms, this is your foot circuit. So really, the way the relay works, we'll get a call says, my foot switches are clicking the relay, but my motors aren't turning on. I think my foot switch is bad. Your foot switch is not bad if the relay clicks. And 99% of the time, if your relay clicks, your relay's good. It's not bad. It's a connection. Then it goes back to the quality connectors. So many bad connections create a fault in your system.
Well, you're working in a really tough spot.
It gets real busy. These are so small. You're putting 4 of these, 2 on each stud. So it gets tight. And they're big wires.
And you got to plan ahead because you can't have them laying up against something else.
Right. Yeah. They can't chafe on this one, or it'll pop some fuses, blow some breakers. We get it. It's tight.
We've seen some pretty bad battery boxes.
Yeah, but we're having so many batteries, and we'll talk about batteries here in a second. And we're putting so many batteries in the box. We're filling them up, and if you got power poles, you got pumps back there. You just don't have a lot of room, so we make everything as small a footprint as we can. Let's talk about batteries for a second. And so I wish I had more batteries, but our system is 12 volts. Most of your stuff is 12-volt system in your boat, and you'll have a 24-volt trolling motor or 36-volt trolling motor, and you can do that all with 12 volts. You can have 3 batteries stacked up here and still have 12 volts to run your system. You just have a bigger gas tank for your power. Or you can have your 3 batteries that puts out 36 volts. It's either parallel or in series. It's all depends on how you wire your battery or connect your batteries together on the output of your batteries. Some people are running like a 16-volt battery for their live scope and stuff. Most of your 12-volt stuff, if it's a brushed motor, if you put 16 volts to it, it's going to burn your brushes up really quick. They just won't handle it. We need 12 volts. It can go up to 14 volts without too much damage.
What battery do you usually pull? You suggest? I hear the question on the phone all the time. Do I use my trolling motor battery or do I use my start battery?
For our system, you're just not using a lot. The everyday fisherman is not using a lot of gas tank of the battery, not a lot of capacity. I keep mine hooked up to my start battery. I keep my start battery in good shape. If it gets old, I replace it before it starts having problems. But I've got a Pro Guide lithium 125 amp hour, I think it is, maybe 100 amp hour start battery. and it runs my cranking, runs my engine and my brakes. I've got a dedicated battery for my live scope, for both my live scopes. Well, I use my live scope battery for my fire poles, for my Raptors, and then I've got I got two batteries. I run a 24-volt trolling motor. I've got two batteries dedicated for my trolling motor. So I got four batteries in my boat. Start battery that runs my brakes, and I've got a dedicated electronics battery that runs my Raptors, and then my 24-volt system for my trolling motor, which all my batteries are 12-volt batteries.
It's just how you hook them up.
It's just how you hook them up. The 24-volt batteries are great. 36-volt batteries are great. It all depends on just how you want your system wired.
Everybody does it different.
Everybody does it different. I don't think there's a right and wrong way for that. You want your outcome to be quality. Your install to be quality. Your batteries to be quality. I mean, think about it. You work so hard every day. You're working 40 to 80 hours a week. We work for our time off, and well, you don't want to skimp on your time off. That's your play time. That's the time that don't come around very often. You want the best chance to have fun possible. That's your only relief from stress in the world is your lake time, your camping time, whatever your time is. You want it to be the highest quality possible. So don't skimp out on the cheapest things. Buy the best you can possibly afford to have your best chance of fun. It's all about fun. It is for me. I just want to have fun and laugh. Most of the time I got to laugh at myself.
No, you laugh at me.
I laugh at him a lot. But he gives me a lot of ammunition to laugh at. It works. But anything else about the batteries?
No, because there's just so many different options.
Yeah, and I don't know nothing about brands of batteries and stuff. I bought Pro Guide because my local installer, that's who he carries Pro Guide batteries. I run the Icon or Ionic batteries. I like them. That's the only two lithiums that I've ever run, so I don't have a lot of experience with that stuff. I got a lot of experience with lead acid batteries and don't like them.
They've given you a lot of grief.
Yeah, I mean, you get 2 years maybe out of them. These lithiums, you're getting 10, 15 years out of them, I guess. I don't think they've been around that long, so I don't know how long they're lasting, but they say they're good for 10 or 15 years. All right, so that's, I think, it's the basics. Half of it was probably wrong, technically. I don't know,
60%.
but it works. Everything we said works. It's no training, just experience. But mention in the comments what we left out or what we did wrong.
Something you'd recommend get added to the tool list.
Yeah. This ain't a complete deal, but
Claw hammer.
Claw hammer.
Yeah.
I think I've got a prop wrench for my big motor in my toolkit. Wrenches. I do have a socket set in there, but I keep a socket set to make sure to get my prop nuts off. Both my big motor and my little motor. So yeah, comment and let us know what we left out of our toolkit or other knowledge, or if you want to know something that we didn't touch on. If we know, or if we can act like we know about it, we'll tell you about it. I think it'll be helpful to you if you. I'm sure
It'll probably help somebody.
It'll help somebody.
Don't be offended if it doesn't.
Right. We're just having fun. Is all we're doing. Trying to help people and have fun while we do it. Comment and give us a like and tell us what you think.